What is up, everybody, and welcome to FLW Videos. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about the Ultra Bonus Unlock event in Pokemon Go. This is a 3-week event that will be happening throughout September, and we'll be talking about it and, of course, establishing a guide. There's a lot of great features, so you want to make sure you are aware of everything and you don't miss out. And you can also come back to this video throughout the entire event because it gets done on a per-week basis. Something else that's kind of interesting is that we will also have a community day during the middle of this event. So I do plan on creating a pre-prep guide for the community day for Turtwig, so that'll happen tomorrow. So if you are interested in that, definitely hit that subscribe button. But regardless of all of that, if you do enjoy this video, if it is helpful, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video. Let's go ahead and jump into this week one. We are starting off with a bang. I think that the thing that people are going to be most excited about is going to be centered around unknowns, being able to get them from 10-kilometer eggs. This will only apply from September 2nd to September 9th, and just know that it will be 1 p.m. PDT time, which means if you get an egg on September 2nd, but it is before that time, it will not be eligible to get yourself an unknown. It must be once the event officially starts, then it will be eligible. So maybe try to hold off on getting yourself eggs if you have empty slots. That way you can guarantee that it will be eligible. But we are, of course, going to be spelling out Ultra, and I know people are going to be excited about this. If you haven't been able to attend a Pokemon Go event, if you've never seen one in the wild, for me personally, I've only seen one on the nearby a single time and didn't even get to it in time. It despawned before I got there in 2 years. So this is such a huge opportunity to get yourself some unknowns. At the end of the video, I'll go ahead and showcase a little bit of a clip where I'll be walking through all of the unknowns that I have. So if you are interested in that, definitely stick around for that. But something else that's going to be kind of cool related to this is the 2x incubator effectiveness. Now this bonus is going to be something that we will see throughout the entire event. I wanted to go ahead and point that out now. But that means that you'll be able to get this in 5 kilometers. So I would highly recommend you to focus on incubators in this case. Take a look at some of the boxes. If you see something that just has a ton of incubators in it and it seems like a good price, definitely go for it because you are going to want to just absolutely just crush through these. Definitely really cool. Up next, we've got the different raids for the legendary beasts. I think personally, the one that I'm most excited about is probably just going to be Raikou. So Raikou's currently the #1 electric type attacker, and even taking a look at Generation 5, there's definitely a couple of threats, maybe like 2 or 3 or so, but it is still going to be within the top 5 once Generation 5 gets here, so I do think it is still a solid investment. And then as far as Entei and Suicune are concerned, for me personally, not that worried about it, but at the same time though, if you've got a legendary raid, definitely go for it. Get yourself some of those resources like the charged TMs, rare candies, you know, just things like that. So I think people will still be interested in it, but I'm personally going to focus on Raikou. So moving down, we've got some new shinies. Check this out. You can let me know which family you think is the coolest. I think the Gligar family is really cool. Gliscor with that blue looks incredible in my opinion. But hey, anytime we get some type of shiny, it's always going to be fun. Just because we can go out and shiny hunt, we can do it, of course, throughout this event, but then we can also do it after as well. So now that we have covered week 1, I think it's time to go ahead and get into week 2. For week 2, we are going to have to pay close attention because we have some deviations in the dates, but I'll definitely explain that. So the first kind of feat that we have going on September 9th is that we will be able to hatch regional Pokemon from the 7-kilometer eggs, but it's actually only going to be the Generation 1 regionals. Kind of a weird situation because I thought they would update it. We did this last year actually. I thought they would add in like Gen 2 like Corsola, Heracross, but they decided not to. Instead, they however did add in the shiny variation, so that's going to be exciting. You can of course obtain a regional that is not your regional Pokemon, get yourself a shiny, but you'd also be able to catch these in the wild within your own region. So keep that in mind. But something interesting about this is that this will actually go to the end of the event. It is not just going to be for this week like it was for the unknowns. In this case, it's going to go from the beginning of week 2 all the way to the end of week 3. And then we are also going to have the 2x incubator effectiveness. and that's going to play directly into those 7-kilometer eggs where you're going to have to walk 3.5. That's just with like a regular incubator. If you've got a super, it's of course going to be a lot less. So keep that in mind. Once again, we're seeing that theme of all of the incubators being very important. And then the last thing that we have to talk about, probably the least important out of all of these, but there's definitely going to be a couple reasons why you would want to do this. Battling Deoxys in a 5-star raid. It's kind of interesting that they point out that 5-star raid, but we'll talk about that in week 3. But in this case, I could imagine you wanting to do this if you weren't able to do one of the EX raids or all of the EX raids, and you're just saying to yourself, you know what, I just want to be able to get all of these for like a Pokédex entry, then yeah, absolutely go for it. But something else kind of going on, the one that I would personally focus on the most is probably the defense form. The defense form is a beast in PvP. So if you are interested in, battling one of these, maybe focus on that defense form, and then maybe focus on the attack form if you're wanting to do some like crazy solos, crazy duos, just short manning, at least from that regard. And then we have more counters for Deoxys available in raid, so who knows, maybe some dark type, maybe some bug type. That's a little bit too generic, so we don't know exactly what is going to happen with it. So we've got week 2 under our belt. Now let's go ahead and move on to week 3, and week 3 is going to be a crazy one. Let's go ahead and get into it. This is the cream of the crop, the thing that everyone wants to talk about, and that is Mewtwo being in the raid system. That is so cool. It will of course be throughout the week of the 16th through the 23rd, but in this case we've got a lot to unpack if you think about it, because yes, we've got Mewtwo in at the raid system, but we also have the exclusive move Psystrike. Now there's been a debate between the move Psystrike as well as the move Psychic, what's better, and at least currently, unless they change it, they're pretty much even. So the major benefit to this is you are guaranteed to get a very good Psychic type move, and that's how you'd want to use Mewtwo if you don't have Shadow Ball, of course. So in this case, I like it because you're going to save on TMs. If we didn't have this exclusive move, you may get a Thunderbolt, but you'd have to TM over to get yourself a Psychic, and that's just going to be terrible. So yeah, definitely excited about that one. Other than that, we are of course going to get the shiny variation. That is so cool. I could almost bet money on it that this will be the most popular raid that has ever happened in Pokemon Go. Maybe even more so than a shiny Rayquaza. You can let me know which shiny variation you would want to see out of a legendary, what you think is the most popular. I do think it would be Mewtwo though. And then finally, it is going to be in 5-star raids. Now that seems like a really weird thing to point out, but the reason why it's been pointed out is because last year when we ended up seeing Mewtwo come based on the special bonus, it ended up getting put into a pseudo 6-star tier, which meant it was more difficult to beat. You needed more people, but at least it was such a popular raid that everyone was out and about doing it. So definitely kind of keep that in mind. That means it's going to be more accessible just for the fact that it is a 5-star, since you will need less people. But regardless of that, we're going to see counters for that in the raid system. Since it is a Psychic type and then Deoxys is a Psychic type as well, we're most likely going to see the exact same counters, so who knows, maybe they'll just be extended throughout the entire 2 weeks. And then finally, we've got ourselves the Pokemon from the Unova region, so Generation 5. How cool is that? We are officially getting the launch for it. And then we've of course got that 2x incubator effectiveness. Just remember that we will still be able to get those regionals hatched from the 7-kilometer eggs throughout this event. And then finally, why not go ahead and finish on this? We've got some Generation 5 Pokemon where we will automatically have the ability to get ourselves a shiny variation out of this right off the bat. That is definitely cool. I think that is the way to start it off right, launching out Generation 5, which I know people are excited for. So we have mentioned the whole talk about like unknowns being released into those 10-kilometer eggs. So I thought I would take a brief minute to go ahead and showcase all of the unknowns that I actually have currently. And for the most part, where I've ended up getting them from is just from those events that I kind of mentioned. I've seen one in the wild, and I've seen a couple mentioned like in my local just Facebook group, but I was never able to get to them in time. But regardless of that, I attended the Chicago Go Fest 2017, 18, and 19, and that is how I've been able to amass these. So let's go ahead and head over to the Pokédex. I figured the best way to do this is to just go ahead and take a look at those unknowns, and then you can kind of see what I've got. Luckily, when we ended up getting them at those Chicago events, it was a pretty good kind of setup where we didn't get a lot of overlap, so every time it was just pretty much something different. A couple of letters did overlap, but for me personally, I think that the two that I'm the most excited about is probably like the exclamation mark and then probably the question mark. I think those are really cool, really rare. Definitely like those. But as you can see, you can just kind of like walk through the alphabet and see exactly what you have in that case. So I've got quite a bit of them. Like I'm roughly like halfway through it. So if we can get some throughout this event, like I don't have the letter U or anything, so I can definitely get some benefit out of those ultras. So I'm personally going to take some advantage of this and really try to get myself extra unknowns from it. But I want to know if you are excited about that. Let me know what your favorite part about this event is. I would imagine it is related to Mewtwo, but it is very possible that you could be interested in those unknowns. You could be interested in the shiny regional Pokemon. Whatever it is, let me know in the comments section below, and I will see you next time. If you want to develop a deeper connection, I would highly recommend you to check out Patreon. We've got a lot of really cool things going on over there. Check out all of these supporters that we have. We are almost up to 100. We are also posting some special content, some behind the scenes work. And if that is the type of thing that interests you, I would highly recommend you to check it out.